Recently on our channel, we tested a very popular TCL C715 TV, which, due to its particular combination of specs and a discounted price, was a choice of many users during the Black Friday and holidays. Overall, a good TV in its class, but we wondered what it would look like if it was improved with a better motion processing and perhaps a few extra details. The answer to that probably lies in C815, a model which, even by its name, is the step above in TCL TV hierarchy, and which should share all the good things with C715, with some additional improvements. We got a chance to test them at the same time, but decided to do the C715 first, and then show you the 55-inch version of C815. The price of this TV is around €800 on most markets for 55 inches, and the same model is also available in 65 and 75-inch versions. It is around €200 to €300 more expensive than the C715, so let's see if it's worth the upsell and who should actually buy this TV. Judging by the looks alone, it is absolutely worth it since the TV looks great. Just like on the C715, workmanship and materials used are top-notch, so there's a super thin metal panel frame which is aligned with the screen surface, a very thin bottom bezel, as well as the back of the TV, both of which are also made of metal. Underneath the bottom bezel is an integrated Onkyo soundbar which is covered in cloth and fits the design really well. The stand consists of 3 separately attached metal legs, which is an unusual solution but looks really good, and certainly different than usual, so the TV has a fairly unique look. If anything, it reminds us of a €2,500 Hisense model from a few years ago, so visually it is definitely a premium class. On the back of the TV there's a plastic profile which houses all the electronics and connectors, and which has a subwoofer port right in the middle, another useful addition. As for the connectors, they're all placed in a single section accessible from the side, in which you'll find 3 HDMI's 2.0B, 2 USB's 2.0, antenna and satellite connectors, LAN port, optical and 3.5mm audio outputs, and a 3.5mm jack for composite AV input. As for the panel, C815 probably uses the identical one as the C715, so the viewing angles and black levels are pretty much the same too. That means that in a pitch black room, black image is not going to be exactly black, and the colors and brightness will change when viewed at more than 45 degrees from the side, though both parameters are on the average level for a VA panel and in line with what competing VA models offer at similar price. Compared to C715, other elements supporting the panel are not the same, so there's an edge LED backlight instead of direct LED, which, considering the fact that this model also does not support local dimming, is not that important. We did get the impression though that the backlight on C815 is designed better, so the uniformity is much better, with a finer net pattern instead of vertical lines and less variations in brightness between the lightest and darkest parts, though with perhaps somewhat brighter edges than on C715. Also, the maximum measured brightness was 507 nits, again in low power HDR mode, so the C815 is somewhat brighter than its cousin. As for the contrast, the best we measured was 6245:1. Though that's fairly high for standard content, clearly it's not enough for proper HDR experience, but again we felt that HDR was slightly better than on C715. Interestingly, this model supports HDR10+, a dynamic tone mapping format which is almost exclusively pushed by Samsung, which again hints at close cooperation between the two companies, which both use the QLED branding on their TVs. I've asked the TCL representatives last year at Berlin's IFA fair about this, but got no answer unless you count yes QLED as an answer. Unlike the Samsung models though, this one also supports Dolby Vision, as well as HDR10 and HLG, so all the HDR formats are there. Speaking of QLED, this TV is also equipped with quantum dot technology, the filtering layer which improves the color display and image quality for both SDR and HDR. Probably due to higher peak brightness, this TV is able to reproduce 87.9% of DCI-P3 gamut, about 2% more than the C715, which is pretty good, and the panel displays 10 bits per color channel with the use of FRC, which gives you a good but not ideal display of fine color gradient. The good news is that the color accuracy is better than on C715, with an average delta E deviation of 2.4 and a maximum of only 3.9 in movie mode. This mode has an unusually high brightness on this model and a fairly low black level, so it is probably the best option for viewing most of the content. The main complaint we had about C715 was the lack of any form of motion processing, and C815 solves this by adding the MEMC, or algorithms for motion estimation and correction, on top of the upscaling algorithms we saw on C715, which were decent but not on the same level as the best models out there. Even though it may seem that the TV has very modest motion options with only one judder reduction slider, motion processing actually performs pretty good, especially for a 60Hz panel, with very good display of 24 FPS movies, so we have absolutely no complaints. MEMC does significantly improve the overall impression, so we hope that TCL may choose to implement it on some even more affordable models next year and make things interesting in the middle price bracket. As a rule, MEMC-equipped models need game mode to offer low input lag, and even though it is slightly higher on this model than on the C715, it is still excellent with a measured 11.2 milliseconds of latency. For gaming and watching sports, you can also activate the clear LED motion option to improve the panel response time, reduce ghosting, and make the motion clearer, at the expense of slightly visible flicker and somewhat darker image. Still, with all the improvements in the image department, the strongest point of this TV is definitely its sound. We were a bit skeptical that the attachment under the TV may be there just for show, and it wouldn't be the first time we see something like that, but we must say we were pleasantly surprised by the sound that this Onkyo solution is able to deliver. Excellent frequency balance and impressive bass response make this TV one of the best sounding ones we've heard so far. I'm not sure if I would dare say that the sound is better than on Samsung high-end models, but it's certainly up there at the top. Rated power is 2 × 10 watts for a stereo pair and 15 watts for a subwoofer, so the sound is quite impactful both for movies and music listening. Sound menu offers predefined profiles as well as advanced options for improving the soundstage, bass, dialogue and high-end detail, though we preferred how the TV sounds with no processing whatsoever, as it really doesn't need it, at least for music, and we chose to activate Dolby Atmos for movies for some extra soundstage. The smart capabilities of this TV are again based on Android TV 9.0 with all its good and bad sides. TV is run by an identical hardware as on C715, so quad-core Realtek RT2851, 2GB of RAM and 10GB of storage, so it shares the same problems in the form of sluggishness and performance while playing back more demanding 4K content. Fortunately, the solution for these problems is also the same, and quite literally so, since you can use the same 6.09 firmware file as for the C715. After the update, TV performs quite good, with only occasional slowdown right after you turn it on, or when you activate the menu during playback of some demanding content, but at least there are no functional problems which would impact the otherwise very good impression. We should say that it's best to forget about the default media player and just install a better one right away, for instance Nova Video Player, which we liked and which performed well with all the files we tried. The OS uses a standard Android TV user interface, with content suggestions, voice control and a whole bunch of apps available in the official Play Store, which will allow you to get pretty much anything you desire in terms of entertainment. Android games which are better than on other smart TV platforms, video and music streaming services, Kodi, Steam Link, network streaming and a lot more. To control the TV you can use the remote, which is the same as the one on C715, which we liked, but you also get another remote, smaller and much higher in quality, with even better keys and simplified functions which are tailored for Android, which we prefer to use most of the time. Besides that, you can also use the TCL Home mobile app, which offers all necessary functions plus a touchpad and easier text input. Overall, TCL C815 is a well-rounded TV which in its price range offers good image quality, incredible sound and excellent smart capabilities. We would say that C815, even though it is more expensive than C715, has its place on the market and that it is a good choice for those looking for a well-made TV, which offers a good movie and home entertainment experience. We hope you liked this review enough to give us a thumbs up and invite you to share your opinion on this TV in the comment section below. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already, as we have much more interesting tech content coming for you. Keep watching Bench House, my name is Ivan and I'll see you next time.